Hey, what's the deal, folks? It's your boy, Professor G. Mark Gray. We continue along with OG Sports Rap on the network and on Substack. Remember, you can check me out all over the place in cyberspace on social media at Facebook, at X, at Instagram, and TikTok, along with Substack. So no sense in going anywhere else for complete and unadulterated knowledge that will keep you in the know. Now, again, we are in the midst of March Madness, which is basketball season. And I would tend to believe, as many of us continue to, shall we say, digest college football season, the last thing we want to know is what is percolating in the mind of the athletic supporter who's a commander and thief. I don't know if you saw this earlier today, but in the throes of the NCAA tournament, and with America literally at war, I mean, we're not masking this any longer here. We're in a wartime environment. We've got a presidential administration who is, at the very least, corrupt, and they keep messing around with stuff that doesn't need to be fixed. And while there should be some levels of reform in college sports, they should be handled by the NCAA and not by an athletic supporter who is a commander in thief. It shouldn't go down like that. Earlier today, in the midst of, watching the NCAA tournament, right? President Trump has issued an executive order requiring the college football playoffs to avoid broadcasting conflicts with the Army-Navy game. Just let's wrap our arms around that. You want to regulate college sports from the standpoint of not only how athletes are to be compensated and how schools are to run that business, which to me sounds a whole lot like private sector, but then again, that's just me. All right. Now, Trump directed the Commerce Secretary and the FCC chairman to coordinate with the College Football Playoff Committee, the NCAA, and their media rights partners to ensure an exclusive broadcasting window on the second Saturday each December. Now, again, the whole order, and it just shows you what's in the mind of a madman. I mean, look, you see the college football playoffs, something that's working fine without you. There's nothing going wrong. College football playoffs are making money. Conferences are making money. Networks are making money. And you want to start manipulating the broadcast windows. When does somebody have the stones as a network executive to say something? You're ruining CBS News. CNN is probably next to follow. And now we got to have a window for the Army-Navy game, which is to be played on December 12th of 2026 at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, the home of the Giants and the Jets. The first round college football playoff games are set for December 18th and 19th. I don't get where this is just so preposterous. It makes no sense. Now, I know who we're dealing with and I know who we're talking about, and most of the stuff doesn't make sense. But here's the deal. It works good in that window now when you got 12 teams. But now you've got conferences wanting to add more teams, more games to the playoffs. So if you have to do that, you'd probably have to start with on-campus games the week before, which would run into some kind of conflict with Army and Navy. But in these perilous times, and we must be mindful of this, in the times that we live in right now, where you're supposed to be grooming military to fight your wars. What the hell are we doing trying to manipulate a college football season for what? To satisfy your goddamn ego? This is grown tiresome. I mean, we got people dying because they can't get vaccines. We don't have, Homeland Security that isn't being properly funded. And we worrying about a goddamn college football window? What the hell is going on? And you tell me how that makes any damn sense with everything that's happening in our country right now. It is the classic case of let's put up another distraction to try to make people not see the foolishness that you realize is going on when, say, you need to fill up your tank. Oh, yeah, fill up your tank by emptying your pockets. Going around telling people that it's going to be a quick few-week war. No, it's not. And now this. That is so disrespectful. And it's like, look, I understand the military protocols. I understand that you're supposed to bow at the behest of the commander in chief, but damn, y'all. When do these brigadier generals stop taking orders and start making sense? Well, there's nothing wrong with Army and Navy playing opposite other games. There's nothing wrong with that. What is this? What is this? Some sort of bow down, capitulate to a military who really, and let's be real for a second. If you're going to do that for Army and Navy, all three of the service academies face each other once a year. So Army, Navy supersedes Air Force. Now, as I recall, it's the Air Force guys who drive the bombers that drop the bombs on these military sites, allegedly, in the Middle East. What are we doing? What the hell are we doing right now? I've never seen the level and that you got, helmet hairdo heads like Mike Johnson, who at the very least is Metro. All right. Well, what are they doing in these advisory meetings? Eating, artisan charcuterie, the finest meats and cheeses, stiff shots for everyone. This administration has become the blazing saddles of politics. We don't have a damn president. We got William J. Lepetamine. Let me just create enough distractions so that people think I know what I'm talking about. But you don't. I can't. When does somebody in a circle say, Mr. President, that's not a good idea. That's not going to work for us because here's what we expand. And what we're seeing right now is a manipulation pretty much of college sports. And there are too many other things. And what's going to happen is these kids who are going to come out with this NIL money and run towards being Republicans because that is supposed to be their money. The money party. It ain't about the people. It's about the loot. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. It's a bad man. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. You know where I'm coming from. Y'all remember the racket? Come on, man. This is crazy. We got William J. Lepetamine. Mel Brooks' character from Blazing Saddles in the White House. I'll be damned. It's so preposterous that it just missed me to think about it. And it's like suddenly, it was like, okay, it went from, and seriously, there's got to be something going on in his mind right now because it's disintegrating before our very eyes. He had to slap his name on the Center. He had to put banners up on federal buildings to acknowledge himself that he's the president, right? And now he's interfering in sports with a group of people who, by and large, are going to make enough money to be conservative when it's time to vote it's gonna cost them, which may need to happen. But the wrong person to reform intercollegiate athletics is indeed this president. And that's why I'm so damn pissed off at Nick Saban going up to the White House and trying to make him feel important, because the dude doesn't have any answers for the reforms to college football. The college football people, all right, don't have any ways to manage themselves. They aren't on like any guardrails or anything, right? It's like, okay, we're going to continue to do what we got to do, and we're going to do it this way. And it's just, I mean, the whole window of Army, Navy having a game to themselves, that's just preposterous. Really? So what are you going to say? If they're NCAA lower division postseason games at that time, they can't play either? My Division II National Football Tournament got to be put on hold. My FCS National Championship Tournament got to be put on hold. It's a regional damn game. We got 6,187,462 TV channels and streaming services, and you want everybody to block out everything during the heat of football time to watch Army and freaking Navy. Look, I'm a stone's throw from Annapolis. I grew up a fan of Napoleon McCallum, Charlie Thunder Thornton, all right, Joe Catuzzo, right? Those are the guys, Eddie Myers. Those are Navy fans that I grew up watching. And you know something? I was cool with flipping back and forth, watching that game while, say, I don't know, Ohio State, Michigan was on the channel too, on another channel. And you click back and forth. This is amazing. The thought process behind an executive order is one thing, but you can't tell me that this is not something that was concocted by Trump and Nick Saban. That's his college football poobah, for lack of a better term. The dude just, I mean, okay, well, you know, Mr. President, we can't make any, we can't have relationships with the kids any longer. You're going to have to do something about the NIL. No, you don't. That is a private matter. NIL should be a private thing between athletes and schools and states. That's it. Feds ain't really got no priority with that. You can't. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle now because kids are getting paid. So what you're saying right now is you're trying to regulate the student athletes and their compensation. And now you're trying to regulate college sports fans with manipulating TV scheduling. I mean, it's one thing to want to be straight up communist and control and dictate the aspects of your citizens' lives. But this is off the charts even by that standard. I mean, you have to really, 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 I mean, there's got to be something wrong there. And, you know, people have been joking about it for a long time. But, you know, dementia is now a real thing. And the last thing we need as a nation is to be led into war by a dude who's got dementia, and in the process of, you know, protecting the republic, he wants to make sure you're sitting at the crib watching an Army-Navy game just because it's the Army and Navy. Hey, last I checked, I think Coast Guard Academy has a football program. Are you going to, like, if they play Coast Guard or if they're going to play Air Force, what are we going to do about that? This is just ridiculous. Anyway, I am Professor G, and thanks for hanging out. It is OG Sports Rap on the network. Remember, download the mobile app, Sports Rap Network, and remember, those checking us out on the network, download the mobile app because we all we got. And you can find me on Substack at Sports Rap OG.